We're going through today getting out of outcome-based pressure to move past hesitation, past self-doubt, past perfectionism. The action or activity starts and ends with the activity itself. So removing yourself from the outcome, and the activity or action in and of itself is enough. It's just doing it, right? And I just want to pray real quick. I just want to pray real quick to pray us in. Lord, thank you so much for this time that we have together. I pray that you remove any fear, doubt, hesitation that has been holding us back. I pray, Father, that you would open our hearts and our minds to hear you clearly, act boldly in the assignments that you've given us, and let today shift how we move forward. In Jesus' name, amen. Cool. So the truth is, your success is not waiting on one more course or one more strategy that you have or one more perfect. How many times have you guys waited for a perfect moment only to find that there isn't a perfect moment? We already know that. So my goal today is to help you release the pressure of that outcome-based thinking so that you can move forward in faith, you can move forward in strength, in positivity, in consistency, in diligence, in excellence, knowing that every single action that you take, remember, we're separating ourselves from outcome-based action here. Every single action that you take in obedience to what it is that you're supposed to be doing is already complete and valuable in and of itself. Here's point number one. Every activity starts and ends with the activity. So one of the biggest mindset traps that entrepreneurs or just regular high achievers, anybody that's trying to advance in their job, one of the biggest mindset traps that they fall into is over attaching themselves to the results of their actions. And I've been guilty of that too, right? Like, I don't want to do it because it's not worth it. It's not going to get me anywhere. I'm going to do all this work for nothing. So that's over attaching yourself to the results of the action itself. So we hesitate to launch a business, or we hesitate to post on social media, or to reach out to prospects or leads. We hesitate to invest in business things or other investments because we're scared of wasting time if it doesn't work. But the truth is, the action itself is the goal. Because if you are going to place your goal based on the outcome, we already know that the outcome might not be what we expect it to be. And that leads to disappointment. And disappointment leads to inaction, more inaction. Disappointment is really just unmet expectations, right? So if we remove our expectations of a specific result from our action and just see the action itself as the goal, just doing the thing, just do the thing. When God calls you to move, when you hear him ask you to move or tell you to move, the movement is the purpose. He's doing something in you through the movement, through the action, through pushing through, right? He's doing something in you. The outcome itself is his responsibility. He tells us to put our hands to the plow. He tells us to sow the seed. He tells us to water the seed. He tells us to till the ground. He doesn't tell us make the plant grow. We do all the work on this end. He is the one that makes it grow, paired with our work. He is the one that makes it grow. When he calls you to move, the movement is the purpose, not the result. The movement is the purpose. And the movement can be the purpose for you. Your movement can be purpose for other people. Other people might be watching you. What comes after your movement might not be what you had expected, but you might be creating a ripple effect in someone else's life that you don't even know anything about. Ecclesiastes chapter 3, verse 1 says, to everything there is a season, a time for every purpose under heaven. So this is seasons, right? And I don't teach like work-life balance, by the way. I teach seasons because I believe there's no such thing as work-life balance. It's seasons. And sometimes you might be in a season of tilling the ground. And if you are in a season of tilling the ground, which is in farmers' terms, just like digging up the ground to bring new earth to the top for new nutrients, right? If you are in a season of tilling the ground and you're expecting a harvest, are you going to want to, and you don't get the harvest because you're in tilling season, you don't get the harvest, are you going to want to continue tilling? Or if you're in a season of tilling the ground and you recognize that tilling the ground is the purpose right now, That's the goal, right? Just to till the ground. That's what you need to focus on right now. And you notice that you are doing it. You're tilling the ground. You're doing the work. You're planting the seeds. You're talking to your leads. You're doing the background work. You're building up the things that you need to build up. You're creating your foundation. And you might not be getting a harvest right now, but if you're doing the work and you're tilling the ground, that's the purpose of this season. So recognizing that everything, there's a season, every purpose under heaven, or a time for every purpose under heaven, right? You might just be in a tilling season. But if you're expecting a harvest in your tilling season and you don't get a harvest, you're not going to want to continue tilling because you've attached a result to the work. You've attached an expectation of a result to the work that you're doing instead of just an expectation of doing the work. Hope that makes sense. So if you can shift from, will this work? Am I putting time in for nothing? Is this going to be worth it? Will I actually be successful this time? If you can shift from that to, I'm showing up every day in obedience. I'm tilling the ground right now when my time comes. I'm planting the seeds right now. I'm working on me right now. You're going to break through paralysis and finally be able to build the momentum that you need. You're also going to build a stack of proof that you can be consistent, and that's going to lead to confidence. So instead of asking, what if this doesn't work, or any question of the right, start declaring, I'm doing the action. The Lord asked me to do the action, and the action is enough right now. The action is enough right now. A lot of times when we think that it's not enough right now, that's because we're expecting to see the entire roadmap out in front of us. And we want to see, if I do this action, then what happens next? And then what happens next? And then what happens next? You need to detach yourself from that and just focus on just this, just the action. I promise you it's going to take so much pressure off your shoulders. Point number 2, it's just an activity. It's just an action. It's just an activity. A single social media post is just that. It's just a post. Like a sales conversation, it's just a conversation. That's it. You have conversations all the time. The pressure that we attach to these actions is manufactured. It's all up here. And it's most of the time rooted in the fear of rejection or failure. It's manufactured pressure. And we're the factory. I'm going to challenge you. What if you released the manufactured pressure and just did the thing? What if you just did the thing? Like without overanalyzing it, without obsessing over it, without attaching it to your worth, and you just detached from it and just saw it as something. Here's how you can do that, okay? I keep talking about detaching. You're like, Devin, how do I detach? I want you to, in your mind, think of the action as an object. Think of it as an object. I don't care what the object is. It can be a box. It can be like a pen. I don't care. Whatever you want the object to be. Make it one thing, okay? Now I want you to imagine yourself 30,000 feet in the air above this object. It's not a part of you. It's just a thing. You are so far detached from the thing that it doesn't influence your emotion. You just can observe it from the outside. You can just look at it. Oh, look, it's a box. That's it. It's just a box, okay? Whenever you start to feel yourself obsessing or overanalyzing or getting stressed out and manufacturing this pressure, close your eyes. The thing, 30,000, and you're 30,000 feet away. It makes it a lot more digestible, a lot more easy to do, to step into, because you've released that tie of expectation to it. So what if you just did the thing without overanalyzing it, without obsessing, without attaching it to your worth? Like what would happen? I want you to think about that. Would you be able to just do it? If the Lord, the creator of heaven and earth, asked you to do something and didn't tell you why, would you do it? Would you do it? Would you just do it? Just do the thing, right? In Galatians 6:9, it says, let us not grow weary while doing good, for in due season we shall reap if we do not lose heart. If we do not lose heart. Paul is talking about resilience. He's talking about just keep going. It will come. It will reap. And we've talked about the emotional cycle of change. And growing weary is in Numbers 2 and 3. Real quick, the emotional cycle changes. Uninformed optimism, informed pessimism, valley of despair, informed optimism, and then success and fulfillment. These are the stages that you go through when you're trying to do something hard, when you're trying to change something about yourself or your life. Growing weary happens in informed pessimism and valley of despair. But if you can push past that, you're going to reap. You're going to reap what you sow. You're going to get a harvest if you can just push through the tilling season, okay? Because you're sowing seeds and not every seed sprouts immediately. But that doesn't mean that it wasn't worth planting. So post the content, send the message, make the offer. The action in and of itself is enough. Just do it and detach. Make the goal to just do the action instead of attaching yourself to the result. All right, point number 3. Like I said, the activity in and of itself is enough. When you pray, you don't question if your prayer had value just because you don't see an instant answer, correct? You don't pray and then lightning comes from the sky and all of a sudden you have what you asked for. Lord, I really could use $100 right now. That's not how that works. The prayer itself strengthens your spirit. The prayer itself is the goal. He is responsible for the result. The prayer itself is the action. So the same is true for every action you take in your business and your life. The action itself is in and of itself enough. And the biggest breakthroughs come when you realize that every step of faith, everything that you step out in faith to do, everything that you don't know what the outcome is going to be, or you're okay with the outcome being what it is, every single step of faith is a success in and of itself. It's developing you. It's turning you into the person that can keep the blessings when he gives them. Every step of faith is success in and of itself, even before you see results. Well done, good and faithful servant. You have been faithful with few things. I will put you in charge of many. That's Matthew 25:23. There's going to come a day where we're all faced with those words. And he's not going to say, well done, good and faithful servant, but you made that call to action and nobody joined. Or well done, good and faithful servant, you made the post, but it didn't quite hit the mark. So well done, good and faithful servant. You started the business, but you didn't really get any clients. So you have been faithful with few things, and I will put you in charge of many. He's talking about actions. He's talking about things that he's asked you to do, to take action on, to physically do. You have been faithful with these things, so I will put you in charge of many things. God isn't measuring you by your success. He's not measuring you by outcomes. He's measuring you by your faithfulness, your obedience, your willingness to just do the thing that he asks you to do, that he put on your heart. So you need to detach from the outcome. He has detached you from the outcome. So detach yourself. Consider this permission to detach yourself from your outcome. Your obedience is already a win. Point number 4. The activity is a deposit. It's not a withdrawal. Think of your business, your life, your relationships, your job as a bank account. What happens when you try to withdraw from a bank account that has no money in it? You don't get anything. Nothing comes out. So you have to deposit into that bank account in order to be able to withdraw from it in the future. So every activity that you don't feel like is a success, you don't have the outcome that you wish you would have had, it's a deposit. I make posts all the time on social media that flop, like all the time. It's an activity. I'm making a deposit into people, into service. It's giving me an opportunity to get better. And I will be able to withdraw on that after I make enough deposits. So every action is a deposit that leads up to a withdrawal. So if you're feeling stuck, if you're feeling like you're not getting anything out of your business, or you haven't made the money that you want to make, or you're not where you want to be in your job, or your relationships with your family are suffering, or your coaching practice, like you're not getting enough clients, have you made enough deposits? Like free will deposits, just like with asking nothing in return. I love giving away things for free. Love it. Love it. You guys know that because you've probably been in my emails where I just give a bunch of value away for free. I give a bunch of value away for free on my social media. I give my personal cell phone number out to people that are not my clients so that I can coach them for free via text message. But literally, I give so much away for free because they're deposits into helping other people. And I know that if I'm faithful in making deposits, the Lord will allow me to withdraw. He will give me a harvest. And He will for you too. So, are you taking the daily steps that you need to align with where you want to go? Or are you letting fear, procrastination, fear of rejection, fear of failure, fear of doing all this work for nothing, are you letting that keep you from moving forward? Your job is to stay consistent in making deposits of faith, action, obedience, value into the goodwill of others. Your job is to do the thing. That's your side of the equation. But as humans, we want to take control of everything and grab everything and make everything the way that we want it to be. And I'm so guilty of that. Control, right? We love that. We love control. We don't really have it though. It's a false construct. The one thing we can control is actually doing the action. So my point for that is start to make consistent deposits without hesitation or overanalysis. Just think of it like you're just putting money into the ATM. Just put it in. All right, from this moment forward, I want you to approach every action with confidence, knowing that it's already enough. Stop overthinking, stop second guessing, stop hesitating. The action is complete in and of itself. It is a deposit. The most powerful thing I could teach you guys today is to view the action as an object and just put yourself 30,000 feet in the air. That's going to help you mentally detach from the outcome of the action. Once you can mentally detach from the outcome of the action, you can just do it. The fear is gone for now. The fear, you can, nope, sorry, just the action. I'll focus on results later. You can even tell yourself, listen, after I do the action, then I can focus on the outcome. Allow your brain to tell your brain that you're going to let it freak out about the outcome later, but not right now. We'll make time for that later. And you might not actually have to freak out about it later because you're going to feel the dopamine from doing the action now. Key points, if you're taking notes, start declaring that the action is already enough because the activity starts and ends with the activity. Number 2, it's really just an activity. The activity is just an activity. It's just a social media post. It's just a sales conversation. It's just a conversation. You literally, it's fine. It's all good. It's just a thing. It has no power over you except the power that you give it. The activity in and of itself is enough. So detaching will help. Detaching from needing to see results right away will allow you just to walk in obedience. Your obedience is already a win. Well done, good and faithful servant. You have been faithful with few things. You have been obedient to the actions that I've asked you to do. Every action is a deposit. Make more deposits before you can expect your withdrawal. You can attach yourself to making deposits. Imagine looking back a year from now and seeing how every small act of obedience that you had compounded into this huge thing that you never could have imagined. Bigger than you ever could have. Small deposits. The deposits need to start today. So I want you to commit today to one action that you're going to take with zero overthinking, zero attachment, zero expectation, just one thing that you know you need to do. You're going to detach yourself from the outcome, whether it's posting on social media or reaching out to a lead or a client, making an offer, starting a project, starting a conversation that you know you need to have. It doesn't matter what it is. Just do the action. Don't expect an outcome. Just do the action and then let me know what it is. I need you to understand that doing the action is where transformation happens. Your breakthrough's on the other side of being consistent and faithful and unattached. Unattached. You've been given the strategy and now it's time to step forward. Let's go to work. I'm going to pray us out. Lord, thank you for reminding us that our obedience is what matters most. Thank you for helping us break free from fear, hesitation, and outcome-based thinking. Give us the courage to move forward in faith, Lord, knowing that every action that we take that's in alignment with you is enough already. We trust you with the results. We trust you to make it grow. Help us commit today to showing up in excellence. In Jesus' name. All right, friends, take care.